So in this presentation, I will go into the specifics of what we've proposed for use of the public safety sales tax. We have put our proposal through the Snohomish County Council, and they unanimously approved placing this on the November ballot. When we went through the council process for approval by our legislative body, one of the stipulations that County Council added to our proposal was that we use at least 51% of the revenue generated for the county for criminal justice purposes. If the voters approve, 60% of the revenue would go to the county, the remaining 40% would go to the cities within the county, and that 40% is shared among those cities based on a per capita basis. The $15.8 million shared by the cities is broken down here. Note that the cities are also required to abide by the revised Code of Washington and utilize at least 1/3 of their revenue for criminal justice purposes, fire protection purposes, or both. And also that the proposal that you will see is our proposal for the county's portion of the funds. Our county is growing really quickly. In just the last 4 years, we've added over 40,000 residents, and that's roughly the population of Lake Stevens or Linwood added to the county in just 4 short years. We also have been hearing from folks throughout the county that they have concerns about the growing impacts of the drug epidemic and things that they're seeing like increased vandalism, graffiti, people who are worried about their safety as they're walking around in the parks, and folks who, business owners in particular, who are experiencing increases in shoplifting. We also reviewed the statistics coming out of the state's law enforcement community. Violent crime seems to have plateaued. It's plateaued at a much higher level than it was just a few years ago. It's disproportionately impacting our youth. We know that we do have some tactics that we put in place and some programs we have in place that are working. We also know that there's some evidence-based practices that we can fund, new programs that can address violence and substance abuse before they become issues. We believe that public spaces should be available to all the public and that the public should be able to enjoy them safely. So we're proposing additional law enforcement officers, including park rangers. We also recognize that those law enforcement officers need support throughout the criminal justice system to ensure folks are held accountable when that becomes necessary. So we're recommending additional funding for the Office of Public Defense, the Prosecuting Attorney's Office, and the courts. We're looking at our very successful medication-assisted treatment program that's currently funded within the jail and how we can expand that. This is the other side of the balanced approach. This is the part that are the other governmental services that are allowed within the public safety realm. So we're asking to appropriate about $4.5 million to acquire and operate a secure withdrawal management and stabilization facility, also known as a secure detox facility. We know it is very difficult for folks who are in the situation where they need secure detox support to get it when they're within Snohomish County, because our nearest beds are in King County and oftentimes they are full. Another $2.5 million is for a second community resource center. The county, in partnership with a contractor, currently operates the Carnegie Resource Center, which is in Everett. That facility, just in the last quarter, served approximately 6,000 people, either in person or over the phone. A second community resource center could be located in Arlington, Marysville, in South County. We just know that we have a great need for additional resources in this space. Another $1.4 million, which is about 6% of the overall county's revenue, would go to address the increase in youth violence that I mentioned earlier. There are programs developed by the federal government and successfully implemented by jurisdictions throughout the United States that are evidence-based and provide prevention and intervention measures to try and keep youth from being involved in violent crime and to help them when they've been subjected to it. We also know that there are a lot of community partners who are actively working in this space, and part of this $1.4 million would be to go to support their effort. Another $1.4 million, again, 6% of the total revenue, would be to address the visible impacts of crime in our community. We've seen a serious uptick in graffiti and an uptick in the number of abandoned vehicles that are around the county. We've looked at a couple of programs that are being successfully implemented in the cities of Everett and Marysville, and would allocate part of this funding to establishing a graffiti remediation program that could address graffiti that we're seeing in unincorporated county. With the uptick in abandoned vehicles, we also know that we're going to need additional capacity in our sheriff's office and in our solid waste facility to address taking these abandoned vehicles off of the road and processing them. We've requested and proposed $1.65 million, about 7% of the overall revenue, to address the increased stress on our EMS system. Our EMS providers are out there every day responding to folks who are experiencing overdoses or other issues related to the drug epidemic and to violent crime. They've begun to implement a nursing line, which allows people that call in to 911 with low acuity needs to be referred to a licensed nurse. We would like to make sure they have stable funding for the pilot that's already underway. A second piece of the support to the EMS community would be to fund an expansion of the county's EMS office. These are the folks that provide medical oversight, quality assurance, and quality control for all of the 1,800 EMS providers in Snohomish County. Our Department of Emergency Management has a small division that provides support to our 911 center, Snow 911. The folks at our emergency management make sure that development is properly documented, and essentially that when you call 911, the ambulance, the police car, the fire engine that you need arrives at the right address the first time. So they've asked for another position to help them as we see the expansion in the county. So in all, we believe this is a balanced approach to these issues. We know this doesn't cover everything. The needs are vast and these are very complex issues, but we believe that the things we have identified through a lot of research and communication with partners are the most critical needs that we can fund through a public safety sales tax. If you have any questions, you're welcome to email publicsafetyst@snoco.org. Thanks for your time, and I look forward to any questions that you have.